Dance. Well, maybe with the Ember
they
Spirit
turn
coming
this
in.
around.
Oh my god, he's going to be able to jump in. Yoki's still alive with that BKB. Now with the ultimate coming in for the Queen of Pain, they finally finish
this
him
is
off. But it's
disaster.
still Empire making a big-time win here as they take out 3 and potentially a 4th. Ice is stuck in the middle. They address the Tombstone, bring Ice back for more punishment. TP out attempted by him, but he's not going to make it out. And Empire, a huge turnaround here. It's now 4 kills for 1. I was like looking at it, Aloha Dance. I was like, oh, that's a great ultimate. I just don't see them being able to do much more. But with Silent coming in and Yoki surviving for so long, thanks to that BKB, they just tore Vici Gaming a new one.
That fight was absolutely insane. I think Vici Gaming really overestimated how strong they were, because if you notice, that's a team that got a little bit too overconfident, and you can judge that by the fact that they went in one by one, assuming that they were going to kill the Spirit Breaker, get out relatively cleanly, but Aloha Dance's ultimate and his kinetic field, it bought way too much time for Yoki to get everything off, and then the rest of the team arrives, the cavalry comes, and now you've got 11 Bloodstone charges on Resolution.
Yeah, and that's just insane. Plus, he's going to be able to have that Orchid now, so... Oh, and level 3 Ball Lightning as well. Can you explain to me real quick why he chose to go for Orchid rather than the BKB?
Yeah, for sure. So typically you're going to see the Storm Spirits almost always nowadays go for the Bloodstone, the Treads. And you might want to say, okay, why doesn't he go for a Yule Scepter or something of that nature? It's mainly because the Winter Wyvern is always going to be an issue.
Yep.
Like if he goes for a BKB, he's just going to get Winter's Cursed. You run out the timer and you're going to have difficulties no matter what. And so it's just better to go for the Orchid. So you zip past the Queen of Pain, and hopefully your team engages on her at the same time. You go for the Winter Wyvern, and you continue to roll and make it difficult for the Queen of Pain to get on top of you. But if you don't have the Orchid, you actually don't do a lot of damage, for one, and you don't have the attack speed, which is really underrated on Storm. So this is almost always the build that you're going to have to see. Because even if it might be a little bit more efficient to go for the Sheep, you just don't do a lot of damage with it.
Right.
It's almost all in-ish.
Vici Gaming now centered up around the Roshan pit, though that one's not really up for another 10 to 15 seconds, besides the fact that Team Empire are pretty aggressively pushing in that top lane. Resolution and Aloha Dance are knocking on that tier 3 tower just to see who's going to respond. Are they going to jump in? Yep, they're going to try and grab Hao and take him out, but a really good silence placed out from Super and managed to force the rest of the team back. Now Resolution, caught by that Winter's Curse, will be able to get the kill there. Always want to fly the next target. Shallow Grave and a TP out. Nope, swap. Is there from Fenrir, and Always Want to Fly will join Resolution in the grave. So their first real attempt at being very aggressive on Vici Gaming turns very poor.
Yeah, they overcommitted by that tier 3 tower. They had to have known that most of Vici Gaming was going to be behind there, and that Winter's Curse is so effective against the Storm Spirit, and they just overcommitted for that a little bit too much. I think the plan was to have the Spirit Breaker run in at the same time as the Orchid completes to do maximum damage on the Queen of Pain and blow her up. But he was just a little bit too far behind, and once he noticed the Queen of Pain was about to BKB, Yoki turns tail, tries to run away, but at that point Empire had committed a little bit too much for that.
And now Vici Gaming with a very strong Roche-taking lineup between the Blood Rage of the Bloodseeker being put on Roshan, as well as the minus armor of the Vengeful Spirit, plus the increased damage of Vengeance Aura. They will be able to get the Aegis into the hands of... nope, they actually give it to Hao again, so...
I think they're always going to give it to Hao.
Okay.
He's only got 1,200 HP. Even with the BKB, if you look at his charges, he only has 7, and Super should have 10.
Yeah.
Because he just recently picked it up, and so...
I guess I just figured between the magic immunity of BKB plus the fact that he's almost got an Assault Cuirass, like he's got the big armor item of Plate Mail, maybe that's enough tankiness. Even though he doesn't have HP, he's got a lot of mitigation, that it could be enough, but...
No, because the Storm just rolls past him, and then if you get hit by one Flight of Fist, you pretty much die. And so I think it's a really good idea to continue to give it to Hao, especially with how... with how aggressively he's playing in. Like, he's blinking in pretty far to try to create an opening for his team. And you can't really get that out of the Bloodseeker. On this, smoke is actually going to do a lot. They actually see him with the ward here, too. This is so smartly placed by them. Yoki just has to run.
Oh, he popped the active there and is actually staying one step ahead of Vici Gaming. Super's trying to get a Rage of the Rupture, but at this point, he's getting close to the Tier 2 tower. It's too late. If they really want this, they're going to have to force a fight around a Tier 2 tower. That's just not going to happen. So Yoki, he just TPs away, and immediately the rest of Vici Gaming back themselves up. Bottom lane, Silent continues to push forward. He almost has a Battle Fury.
That was the good part of them showing themselves at top, because it means that Silent can continue to pressure this without feeling too worried. But that was just sick game sense by Yoki.
Really
there was not a whole lot to tip him off from that. There's not even a single ward by them there. He just kind of read the situation, because it's not even that he ran away. It's that he empowering hasted and didn't go for the TP or anything.
There's that Assault Cuirass for Queen of Pain. Presumably you continue the right-click build for Quap now. What is the next item as a Queen of Pain that's trying to look towards more physical damage from her right-clicks? Where do you go from here? Scythe of Ice?
Yeah, I think you still go for the Hex. You absolutely need it against the majority of the cores on Empire. Now that there is a Manta style on this Ember Spirit, you want a more reliable way of locking them down other than your Orchid, because the Storm Spirit's going to go for a BKB of his own, right? Mm-hmm. And Silent's actually not going to have a BKB for quite some time. You're going to have to use the Winter's Curse on either the Spirit Breaker or the Storm Spirit. And so you have no reliable lockdown against an Ember Spirit. So it has to be the Hex.
Why do you think you don't reverse the item choices there and go for maybe even get like the plate mail and then go for the Scythe of Ice and finish up the AC afterwards, instead of finishing the complete AC first and then going for the disable item later? Because the Scythe of Ice seems to be such a critical item for Vici Gaming to stop both the Storm and Ember from doing whatever they want in team fights.
It's just good at fighting against physical damage. It serves that purpose, because if you think about it, there's the Spirit Breaker on the other team. You can negate a lot of his right-click damage. Same with the Storm. You just help your team so much because of the armor aura. At the same time, it's good against the Sleight of Fist, especially. Mm-hmm. And if you're having trouble taking high ground or you're having trouble hitting towers, then it's especially effective.
Yeah, and if you look at the way the Vici Gaming are set up for a 5-man team fight, they've not only got the armor now of Assault Cuirass, but they also have the armor of Mech / Guardian Greaves, which, as your hero drops low enough, they get a big increase in armor, up to an increase of 10 once they drop below 20%. So the melee racks, swap in. They're going to go for Yoki and do successfully blow him up with a Sonic Wave, and he does not have a buyback. It seems really good ultimate there from Aloha Dance as they target Ice, but now Resolution is hit by that Winter's Curse. Great Shallow Grave, though, is going to keep Resolution alive, and back to the fountain he goes, where he'll heal up and come back once again for vengeance. And the melee racks is about to fall. Vici Gaming, though, can't stick around for too long. The buyback out from the Disruptor is going to look for a glimpse pickoff, but they need vision first, and it just hits nighttime as well. Silent is desperate to be able to see someone, and he's seen how. They'll bring him right back in. He does have that Aegis, makes the blink away. Super's the next target of Resolution, who has just enough mana to be able to make a pull, and Super will end up falling here. Great pickoff for the buyback of the Disruptor. Doesn't look like they're going to get anything more, though.
Yeah, they managed to hold the melee barracks, which is the more important one. It might actually go down. It's so low.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? It's got 75 HP, regenning
they're
up
running
over time.
They're running as fast as they can.
It's fine, it's fine. The creeps will take out the siege wagon, and then melee racks will survive. So it'll regen back up to full, given enough time.
How upset do you think they would have been if they lost their racks like that?
Incredibly.
After that defense, they held for so long, and then it's one single catapult that ruins their dreams. But managing to hold on to that Rax, even after the Aegis once again, just kind of, it has to bolster Empire's confidence. And at the same time, the Storm didn't even die in the middle of the Winter's Curse, because Always Wanna Fly had such a clutch grave. Like, he might have missed a few in the early game, but that makes up for all of them. And at the same time, How might be the target. They have a DD rune. They know he's there. He's smoked up at the same time, and they might try to look for a quick pickoff, and Resolution's going to miss.
FY already blinked himself back. So it seems the smoke is a missed opportunity here. Vici Gaming are going to back up and do a smoke of their own. Fenrir funneling it out to them on the courier right now.
Yeah, they should be really worried about this right now, because Empire is actually in the losing position, because you don't want to be caught out here by the smoke. It's almost certainly going to mean at least one set of racks. Oh, and I don't actually think they know this is coming, and this might actually just surprise them.
Hot Dance is still in a good position to be able to respond to this one. If he gets off a good ultimate, BKB activated on both the Intelligence Bit. They do get the ultimate off on Resolution, and with the Winter's Curse, but the Shallow Grave is there. He's going to be able to roll himself out of that one, but the Bloodseeker is still plenty fast thanks to all that missing HP, so he's going to be able to run down a couple of heroes. First is Always Wanna Fly. Next up, Silent on his list. He only needs 1 or 2 right clicks, and yeah, he pops the BKB just to make sure that Chains doesn't delay the death of the Ember Spirit. 2 kills for that smoke, and Vici Gaming will now be able to take that melee Rax, which survived for so long, but in the end, it falls to Vici Gaming.
It's definitely going to go down, and you're just seeing the Ember Spirit being so far behind in farm. He can't actually provide too much to the fight. Resolution can go in all he wants, but he's going to get stopped dead in his tracks by the Winter's Curse every time. And they just can't really put out enough damage, especially with How having this Assault Curse. And here we go.
Ice. That's a glimpse back. Now FY comes in with the Cold Embrace. The rest of VG Gaming seems like they want to fight this one. It's going to be a 3 versus 5. They already got the Disruptor thanks to How and his Orchid plus Blood Rage damage. So not so good an idea for Empire to challenge. Now a swap out. Yoki's going to be caught as well. Silence stunned up, and bad turns to worse. Empire are very fortunate that they're in a situation where Vici Gaming can't actually take a second lane of Rags because they have both of their tier 2s up in the side lanes. But that was still disastrous, feeding more kills to Vici.
I'm actually really surprised that Empire decided to go for that semi-defense and show themselves on the map, because they know that Vici Gaming clearly knows that the Ember Spirit is down, and with Winter's Curse about to be up, the Storm Spirit doesn't want to get into a direct 3v5 type of fight. So I think the better move there is just to wait for the Ember Spirit, give up your racks, and try not to lose any more casualties, and try to mount another defense, and hopefully rack up more Bloodstone charges, get a little bit more farm on the Ember Spirit. But now, with those deaths that just happened, you know that Empire are almost entirely going to be really poor, and even if they hold in this situation, they're probably going to need buybacks for it, and it's going to cost too much because Silent, that would kill his farm progression. He just wouldn't have any more farm.
Mm-hmm. So as they push forward, the Disruptor comes back. This time around, VG Gaming will make a very early exit in order to ensure nobody gets picked off. They start marching over to Roshan. Potential spawn time right now, the actual spawn time, 20 seconds. Rather lucky for VG Gaming, I think, though all of Empire is up to contest.
I almost think they have to contest the Roshan now, because they just don't deal enough damage on this Ember Spirit. He manages to pick up a Chrysalis, but that Queen of Pain, instead of going for the Hex, just decided to go for the Daedalus, and I am shocked at how quickly she kills the supports